In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to draw the outside caliper from your technical drawing with engineering graphics text by Giseki, 14th edition. The 14th edition is page 120, exercise 3.11. Now at first look, this object, the outside caliper, looks very easy and looks like you could be done with it in just a few minutes actually. But upon closer examination you realize that there are a few dimensions that would have helped out in the geometric construction. You can't really say the dimensions are missing because you can construct the object without the dimensions. However, with the given dimensions, it makes it a bit of a challenge creating this object. A couple more dimensions would have made the construction much easier. But we have the dimensions and we can construct it with the given dimensions, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to start off at the left side of the object inside the hexagon, at the center of the hexagon, and I'm going to draw a horizontal line from left to right 5.5 units long on my construction there. Okay. Now, what I'm going to introduce now are geometric and dimensional constraints. And on objects like this that are a little more difficult to construct, sometimes you can use these additional tools to help you construct the object a little easier, okay? Which is exactly what I have in mind. So I'm going to go to the parametric tab, and we have some geometric and dimensional constraints that we can use, and so we're going to start applying these as we go through. So and what the geometric and dimensional constraints do, they basically manipulate the object to behave in a certain way. And you know, when we've drawn everything up to this point, the objects have been static, but we can use these different tools to constrain the object and get it to behave in a certain way, and it'll become more clear as we go along what we're trying to achieve. But for example, this line that I just drew, okay, some things I want to tell you about it. I want it to stay where it is, okay. I want it to remain 5.5 units long, and I want it to remain horizontal. And if I apply those constraints, then the line will stay exactly where it is, stay 5.5 units long, and stay horizontal, which is what I want. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. So I want to add a fix constraint to keep it in place. So I'm going to click the Fix button on the geometric panel, and AutoCAD has asked me to select point or object. Okay, so I need to type O and then enter to tell it that I want to select this object. Okay, so I'm going to click on the line. Okay, and now you see the little padlock next to my line. Okay, now if I try to move it, you can see that the length of the line changes, but it's not changing orientation. Okay, but both endpoints can move, which is not what I want. So let me back this up to where it needs to be. Let me make sure this line is still 5.5 units. I wanted to demonstrate again. So fix, and then I'll type O and then enter, and now I'll click on the line. Okay, so we just found out that if I just apply a fix constraint, the line appears to stay horizontal, but both ends of the line can move, and the length of the line can change. Okay, so one thing that I can do is let me see if it'll let me add a horizontal constraint. It appears to already remain horizontal, but let me see if I can add that just to make sure. So I'm going to click on horizontal and then click on the line, and it says this constraint cannot be applied. It conflicts with existing constraints or would over constrain the geometry. Just so okay. We don't need to apply a horizontal constraint. It'll stay horizontal with the constraint that's already on there. But we saw that the length of the line could change. So let's apply a linear dimensional constraint. Now this is different than a dimension that you would put on your drawing for production. This is to make sure that the line stays the length that we want it to stay. So I'm going to click on the left end and the right end, and then pull above, and then click to place the dimension. Now at this point I can rename the dimension if I want, but I don't want to. I'll just click out here in space, and you can see that the dimension is now applied to the line. So if I click on this line now and try to change the length, you can see that it moves the line, but it doesn't change the length, okay, and it stays horizontal. Okay, that's all I really care about. So that's our first step, and it'll become more clear why we're doing this as we go along. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my Home tab and go to my visible layer. And on my visible layer, I want to create a circle with a radius of 0.5. So C, enter. And at the end point here, I'm going to type END to make sure I'm snapped to the end point. I'm going to draw a circle with a radius of 0.5. At the other end of this line, I'm going to draw a circle with a radius of 2.12. Okay. So just to make sure that these circles stay where they should and also they stay the same dimension, I'm going to go back to the parametric tab, and I am going to apply a coincident constraint. Okay. So I'm going to click on the coincident constraint. I'm going to click on the edge of the circle when I see the point, and then I want to click on the line. Okay, so that permanently fixes the circle, center of the circle, to the end point of that line. Okay, so if I try to move the circle, then the line goes with it. Okay, and you can see that it pulled this line away from this circle because there's no coincident constraint. So let me click undo, and I want to apply another coincident constraint between this circle and the line. Okay, so now let's try to move, and you can see that it all moves when I move anything at this point. Okay, because they're all connected. So let's apply a radial dimension constraint to both circles to make sure that these circles aren't accidentally changed. Okay, so I'm going to click on the radial radius constraint, dimensional constraint, and then click the edge of the circle, and then left click to drop the dimension. I'll click in space to make sure that, because I don't want to change the name, and there you go. Now you can see that the dimension is locked at 0.5. Okay, I'll do the same thing on this circle. Okay, so now we're all attached. The line and the two circles are attached. Both circles and the line also have dimensional constraints. Okay. Now, what we want to do is go back to the Home tab, and in my construction layer, just from the endpoint of that line, I'm just going to draw a line out to the right. Okay, I don't really care how long it is, but I'm going to use this for construction. And I want to go to my visible layer, and I want to draw a circle. So C, enter. And I want to use tan radius. So T, enter. So I want to go tangent to that line, tangent to that circle with a radius of 0.06. Okay. Now I'm not going to apply any geometric or dimensional constraints to this because I don't have to. I'm going to try to explain how all this works in just a moment. I want to point out that this is kind of where things start getting a little bit odd. The 2.38, the center of the 2.38 radius arc is above this line by 0.12. So let's offset this construction line from here up 0.12. Okay, so the center of that arc is located somewhere on this horizontal line, but we don't know where. Okay, all we know is that the arc has a radius of 2.38 and its center is somewhere on this line. This is one of the dimensions that would have been handy if we would have had a left to right dimension here. But this is why we're using these constraints to help us overcome this obstacle. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to draw a new circle, and so I'll type C. Make sure that before we do that, let's go to the parametric tab, And let's apply constraints to this offset line. So let's fix it in place.